special guest gentleman who's on your podcast. Is he one of your boyfriends?
Or he's my husband.
Your husband?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Scott is your husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how long have you guys known each other?
I've known Scott since 8th or 9th grade. But how long have we known you now?
10 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Brittney, did you meet your husband through Justine?
No.
No.
No, they met first, and when I met her, I couldn't stand her.
Isn't that always how it happens?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Stand up, girl. Not break the microphone.
Hey, what's up? I'm MJ.
And I'm Bree.
And we're just a couple of Vegas girls.
Living the not so Vegas life.
Yeah, but we're not regular Vegas girls.
We're cool Vegas girls. Kinda.
And this is the Keeping It Casual podcast.
Where we talk about everything and nothing all at once. Let's do it.
I like when you sang it out.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I love that stupid movie.
So how long have you guys been doing your show together?
We'll be 2 years next February.
Dang.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our spooky Halloween episode. And who better to tell you a sexy, scary story than the It's About Damn Crime babes?
So let's welcome them. Hi, guys.
Hi.
It's like, tell me a scary story.
Introduce yourselves.
Yes.
I'm Justine.
And I'm Brittney. Sorry if I sound like a man. I'm a little under the weather, you know?
Oh, but she made it here to record with
I
us.
did. I'm going to fight through it, you know?
After
is
I yelled at her. I
wonderful.
don't care how horrible you feel. Get up.
She's got the Phoebe, like give me the scratchy voice.
The sexy, what'd she call it? Her sexy flim. That was the episode.
Sing Smelly Cat.
Oh, smelly cat.
What
are they feeding you? We're off to a really spooky start, you guys.
A greatest hits album. So we were really excited to have you guys in because we're like, damn. First of all, when I was like, I hit Bree because Bree is our true crime junkie. So she loves the true crime stuff. I said, you wouldn't believe this. I said, these chicks, they're not only from Vegas, but look at the name of their show.
Yes,
that's money.
So perfect. It is the best. Like one of the best true crime titles I've ever heard in my life.
Thank you.
One of the best podcast names,
I know.
honestly.
It's about damn crime. Like
Yeah.
it's just so cool.
That
So
was
who came up-
definitely
We were
Brittany's
drinking.
idea.
We were drinking, and it was
Yeah.
my idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
We had like a list of names, and I was like, "Oh, we were drinking at a bar. I think we were at a bar, right?"
Probably
Probably at a bar.
generally at a bar.
And we're just like listing names, and I was like, "What about it's about damn? What about that? What about it's about damn crime?" She's like,
That's it.
"I like that.
That's
Okay,
it.
cool."
And what I really like about your guys' podcast is you don't go for like the typical true crime stories that I hear constantly.
Right.
You know, you go after like these true crime stories like featuring women of color, and you know, it's not like I'm listening to the Black Dahlia story for the millionth time. Not that I have anything wrong with that. Like, I
No,
love
but
that
hello,
story.
these are true crime Hollywood stories. You guys are.
Yes, and I appreciate that because it's stuff that I'm like, wow, I've never heard of this. Let me tune in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was important to us when we started because we were like, there's a million true crime podcasts, and what's gonna set us apart from everybody else? And we're like, when do we ever hear stories about people that look like us
Yeah.
on
Aw.
other podcasts? And you never hear them. So it was about damn time someone started talking about him. It all kind of went together.
Yeah.
Yes, your special guest gentleman who's on your podcast. Is he one of your boyfriends?
He's my husband.
Your husband?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Scott is your husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how long have you guys known each other? God,
I've
since
known
you-
Scott since 8th or 9th grade. But how long have we known you now?
9, 10 years.
Yeah, probably about 10 years.
10 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Brittany, did you meet your husband through Justine?
No.
No.
No, they met first, and when I met her, I couldn't stand her.
Isn't that always how it happens?
Yeah. I was a bitch. I had like my resting bitch face on, and I did not even bother to like meet his female friends. I'm just sitting there like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
And then
Definitely
we
how it was.
got drunk, and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
hi.
You're my best friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
best friends
And
forever.
he's yelled at me before. He's like, "What the hell? Like, you were my friend first." I'm like, "Oh, I'm still your friend." And he's like, "No, you're her friend." I was like, "Look, I love you both, but if you ever get divorced, I'm choosing her." So yes, you're right. I'm not your friend anymore.
There was some joke that my two best friends were gonna date my guy best friend and my girl best friend, and I was like, I told my guy best friend, I was like, look, if you break up with her,
Mhm.
I choose her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was like, it's sisters before misters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Always. Always.
I feel like that's a lot of my best friends. At first, you're like, oh, I don't like this girl. Because you sense a little bit of like, we're kind of the same.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there enough room for both of us?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So in the true crime world, what are some of your other like favorite true crime podcasts that you guys listen to?
One of my favorite right now is Affirmative Murder.
Ooh.
They're
Oh, I've heard of
very
that.
I
Yeah.
haven't heard of that
they're
one.
I do
not
like
well
that
known.
one.
They're probably maybe a year in. No, I don't think they're even a year in yet.
No.
Much like us, they cover people of color stories.
They're extremely funny.
They're so funny.
They're so
Ooh.
funny.
I feel like
Okay.
they're so
Very,
underrated.
very clever, witty.
We always say like they're the male version of us.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they're so hilarious. What other true crime? I'm gonna be very honest. Since we started doing true crime,
Uh-huh.
I have a hard time listening to other true
I
crime.
bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
Because it's like overload. Where I'm like,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
I can only deal with so much death and murder.
I understand
In a
that.
week.
Yeah.
Me listening
Yeah.
to it, that's how I feel. I started listening to, I think it was
Sword and Scale.
Well, it was Serial.
Oh,
That's how I
yeah?
got sucked into
Mhm.
podcasts.
Yeah,
and I got
that's everyone's. Same.
yeah, like
Yeah.
took like a trip to
Everybody's
Florida on
first.
an airplane. I'm like, I'm gonna watch movies, and I download this podcast. I'm like, oh, somebody told me to try a podcast, whatever the fuck that is. You know? And I started listening. I was like, oh my god, like I didn't even watch my movies.
Yeah.
I usually sleep on the plane, so I
Uh-huh.
just like the whole trip there and back. I finished the whole thing, and I was
Yeah.
like, where do I go next?
You were like, who killed her? I'm gonna figure this out. That was me.
Oh my
I was like, he's innocent, and I've got to figure out who did it.
Yeah, but I go to Sword and Scale is one of the, but it's super creepy, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
not at night.
See,
Yeah.
that's me with Case File. Because it's just him,
The Australian
the
guy?
Australian guy. It's just him.
That
It's just-
voice, I was like,
oh no, but you know me with my accents.
oh yeah,
so.
you do love the accent.
Ooh.
She's getting amped up listening to that voice.
I love my international men.
I do love a good Australian accent.
Yeah.
But like
Oh,
it's
man.
because it's just him and like some ominous tones in the background, and I'll be
Yeah.
like listening to it driving late at night, and I'm like, somebody's gonna kill me right now.
Dude, I like zip right off to sleep. Like Sword and Scale, it's like boom.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
like
very
the,
upbeat.
the music is straight dope. You're like, what's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
He's got a DJ in the back. It's a oh,
It's him probably. Mixing his own beats.
what about you, Brittney? What's your true crime one that you like?
Well, I first started listening to My Favorite Murder.
My
Yeah.
favorite.
I think that was everybody's, like,
murder.
you know. But now, like Justine said, I don't really listen to
Mm-hmm.
true crime. I mean, I listen to Affirmative Murder every now and then. But yeah.
Hard to fall down the rabbit hole when when you have to
Mhm.
fall down the rabbit hole yourselves to
exactly.
create a show. I believe that.
What
Yeah.
about side podcasts? Like just anything random or fun you love?
Yeah.
We listen to Tiger Belly every week.
Oh, I love Tiger Belly.
What is Tiger
What's
Belly?
Tiger Belly?
Bobby Lee's podcast.
Oh, Bobby
Yeah.
Lee.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Was that Anna
And-
Nicole Smith's like dude?
No, Bobby
He's-
Lee from
SNL.
Matt
Oh,
TV.
yeah,
Matt TV.
TV, yeah.
Yes, Mrs.
Yes.
He did that character, Miss.
Swan.
Yes, Miss Swan. Right?
I don't think
Miss Swan.
I don't think he did. Miss
I don't
Swan,
think he did. No, I don't think he did Miss Swan.
but he
No?
was on
But
Matt TV.
I know who you're talking about.
I
Yeah.
absolutely know you're talking. Wow. Okay, Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
All
we listen
right.
to
I
that
listen
every
to
week.
that every
It's
week.
like a hot mess.
So
They're
He's
so,
so funny.
hilarious, and they're very like not PC.
Uh-huh.
So
Love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
go there to just like
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So funny.
Okay. All right.
Good to know. I like a lot of there's a lot of comedy podcasts that I really get down with because I just when I fall down the true crime hole, I gotta bring myself back out
Right.
of it. I'm
Mhm.
like,
Something
oh,
to
that
pep
was
you up.
depressing. Like,
Yeah.
let's listen to some Anna Faris.
Yes.
Yeah. Or that I like Dax Shepard's new podcast.
Yeah, I caught a couple of those.
Armchair Expert.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell it's more of his therapy than his guests.
Uh huh.
I'll listen to that.
Yeah.
He's funny if you like him. I guess you'd have to like him to deal with him, but
Mhm.
I mean, I enjoy that, and I get inspired by the crazy mentality behind these people that are just like some huge game changers. And like, I think he's interviewed Ellen, and
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
I'm
Wow.
just like the littlest things, you know, you'll catch on from somebody that really inspires you, or just you're like, wow, you know, I didn't think,
Mhm.
I never would have thought of things.
I
like
caught that Ellen interview, and she sounded so uncomfortable to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
At the end, he made a joke about like, yeah, let's go do some X, and she's like,
She's like,
please no, I'm leaving.
It was her first interview, right?
I don't think
Did you
she
say it was her
interviews
first
very
podcast
often. Like,
interview?
it was definitely her first podcast. Yeah. But
Oh.
she
Wow.
doesn't interview very. I've never seen her interview on anything.
Me neither. I was like,
She
Ellen?
interviews people, but I've never seen her like sit there and
Yeah.
talk about herself. So you could tell she was like
Yeah, weird. And he was making silly jokes like, let's go do drugs. And she's like, no. Hello, do you see my network time television? Let's not get any rumors going. Don't fuck up my game.
When I worked in long-term care, because she came on at 4:00, if we started bingo late and it was going to mess up with Ellen, oh my God, my residents went crazy. So yes, I could understand why she couldn't talk about doing ecstasy on a podcast.
They would be shattered.
Oh, man.
Okay, here's another one. Very curious. Since you do true crime, and there's obviously a lot of research, a lot of prep, like, what made you want to focus on that when you were like, when was it like, we want to do a podcast and we want to do a true crime podcast? Like, how did that come about?
We love true crime. Always have. I'm like a big Dateline fanatic.
Okay.
Not so much anymore, but I was for a long time.
Oh my
Again,
God, all the
sometimes
time.
it's overload.
I would ask her, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm going to text her. What are you doing? Watching Dateline. Of course you are.
What are you doing Friday night? Oh,
Watching
I have to
Dateline.
watch Dateline at 10
I have a
o'clock.
date with Dateline. Okay, perfect.
But when we sat down and talked about doing a podcast, I don't know why we automatically just went there. I think we're kind of like, what the hell else are we going to talk about?
Yeah, that's true.
It's what
we
we
love
talked
makeup, but like, who's going to do a podcast?
Well,
on makeup?
we
Not
were
fun.
drinking again in your dad's garage.
Oh, yeah, I'm drunk in my dad's garage. And we're
We were
like,
just like talking about true crime cases that
yeah.
we were interested in. Oh, did you hear this? And talking about the podcast that we were listening to. Did you hear this? And she's like, why don't we do that? We can do it.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, so what do we, and then we started talking about it. And then the idea, she brought up the ideas. She's like, well, we got to do something that makes us different.
Mhm.
Stand out.
Yeah, stand out from other
Yeah.
podcasts. And she's like, well, we're women of color.
Yeah.
So why don't we do a podcast that focus on people of color cases?
Yeah.
Because you rarely hear those,
Yeah.
They rarely get the spotlight that they
Sure.
deserve.
Very true.
So
That's
Mhm.
exactly what happened.
I love that. So, and then obviously you got to have a little bit of like, did any of you know anything about recording and getting microphones and any of that stuff? How did that,
Not at all.
because I know a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people out there, we do ours at the studio. So we
Mhm.
have the luck of all of this stuff, but you guys doing this like straight up. I admire that
Me
because
too.
if I didn't have all of this capability at my house, and I was like, I want to start a podcast. I don't even know where the fuck to begin. Like, what do I need? Like, how did that work out for
I
you?
don't even remember. Brittany handled like all the technical stuff because I'm just
Okay.
like, I look at it and I'm like,
Yeah.
I check out and I'm just thinking about next Tuesday. Like, I'm just totally out of it.
Luckily, that's us. She was like, when we were like, let's start a podcast together, MJ was like, okay, I know producing a show. And she was like, so you do the web stuff. And I was like, all right, I got this.
I was like, you can handle some social media stuff. I will get like, we'll produce this
Yeah.
bad boy,
Yeah,
you know?
we definitely had our strengths and our weaknesses.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't. What happened? Did you just
I
Google
just
it?
did a lot of Googling.
Me too.
A lot of Googling and a lot of research.
Yeah.
Reading up on everything, forums,
Yes.
on how. I even Googled, how do I start a podcast?
Dude, me too. And you know what? That's one thing they don't teach you in radio. Like, we had to figure all this shit out on our own. And
Oh, yeah?
it was a process.
Well-
yeah, like I can go in there and play music and talk, but the whole production of this is a whole sideshow
Mhm.
compared to.
I mean, in radio, it was frowned upon. Podcasting was frowned upon for a long time in the
yeah.
radio industry.
Oh, really?
I believe that.
Oh, yeah. We
Wow.
kind of looked at it like, psh, these people can't get on this air, so now they're starting podcasts.
Yeah, very snoopery. Then you listen to it, you're like, fuck, there's no boundaries, there's
Yeah.
no FCC. You can really just create what you want. And I think that's really cool to like
You
have an
can
outlet.
say fuck.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. You talk about sex and weird sex things. and,
Yeah.
But I do love the freedom that you can just create what you want. And I think a lot of people don't realize you can just like you have something to say no matter what kind of outlet you want to talk about. If
Mhm.
you have a passion for fucking shoes, and literally, you
Fucking
can
in
have a
shoes.
podcast for it. You do a podcast and you go and you own it.
Absolutely do that. And you will find an audience.
You sure will.
You will.
And I will say the number one way to really support any podcast is to rate it on iTunes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the big like Yelp community for podcasts. That's how people. So if you respect what somebody's doing, because nobody's getting rich doing this yet, unless we're
Unless you're my
Death
favorite
Shepherd.
murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only once.
Or True Crime Garage.
yeah. We're all doing this out of the passion and the love. So if you enjoy listening, you just please rate it on iTunes and share and subscribe and
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, and if we say we want to hear your feedback on something like and we want to feature you on the show, I know you girls do Stranger Danger episodes.
Yeah.
Man, send it in because you could be a part of it, and that's
Yeah.
really exciting. Like
Mhm.
if I
Yeah.
wrote you guys in, it was like, oh my god, you wouldn't believe the story that happened to me. I'd be stoked to hear it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been
So-
one of the coolest things for us too, is that every time we get an email from a listener telling us a story, it's like, oh, there's like people listening that are
Mhm.
willing to
Yeah.
participate. Because
Uh-huh.
there's so many things I listen to and I'm like, I'm not participating. Like,
Yeah.
I listen, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to participate.
Yeah.
So it's so cool that we have listeners out there that actually do take the time to write in. And I mean, we get them all the time, but it's still super exciting every time.
Mhm.
It
We get a new
really
one.
is. And
I agree.
it means a lot.
Even, like,
same stuff.
Reading like iTunes reviews, when you get a good iTunes review, you're like, oh
Uh-huh.
my
Yeah.
god,
Yeah.
they really like me.
Yeah. We had people sharing their BDSM quiz results.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. And it wasn't like enough to like share a whole story on air. It was like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't believe it. My husband is a rope bunny and I am a dominatrix.
And it's
Thank
like,
you.
good for you guys.
Yeah.
You work together.
Yeah. So it's,
So funny.
the feedback is incredible. So
Yeah.
always
Mhm.
keep that coming. So what else did we want to ask? We did ask about wanting to start our own podcast.
Yeah.
You guys Google it.
Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Google
that's
it.
the advice from all of us.
You're wondering if there's some trick.
So let's transition into like Halloween stuff. What are some of your guys' traditions or places you love to check out in Las Vegas on Halloween? Because we're all Vegas babes in here.
Mhm,
We
mhm.
are. Okay, every year I'll force myself to go to a haunted house. Like,
Okay.
you know, the little ones.
Do you like to go to like the Freakling Brothers one where they have
Freakling
the
Brothers.
trilogy of terror?
Yes, I went. I remember
Yep.
last year or the year before.
The guy who puts it on is a babe.
Yeah, yes.
JT.
Him and his
JT.
father. Him and his father used to have like the coolest haunted house. He used to live over on the east side, and they were known for having like the scariest haunted house in town. He said he used to sit there with his chainsaw, and he looked like he was just not going to move. And the kids would run up, and he would take off down the street and chase them. And
That's
so it became
scary.
known as the coolest. And anyhow, they do theirs out here every year. So
Yes.
that I'd go to those too. The Freaking
Yeah,
Brothers.
Trilogy
every
of
year, and I
terror.
don't enjoy it ever.
Because
it's scary.
It scares the shit out of me, and
Yeah.
I go whoever I'm going with. I walk directly behind them. I put
And your
my
head's down.
Yeah.
head down, and I just like let them lead the way. I
Yeah.
don't see anything.
You know what I hate?
I don't know
is
why I pay for
in
it.
the Coven one.
I know what you mean.
In the Coven one, when you have to
Uh-huh.
crawl through that little crawl space.
I don't know
Oh.
if I've ever done that one.
They did that last year. You had in the witch one.
Yeah.
You had to crawl through this small little
Nope.
crawl space, and I was like, my boots are getting ruined right now because of this. I just bought these shoes.
I was pregnant at the last Halloween when I was like,
Yeah.
sorry. They're like, you're gonna go into our over 18 one. It's like rated X. I was like, no, I can't go this year.
That one's scary as hell because they can touch you. You sign a waiver, and the actors
Oh,
can
yeah,
touch
I've
you
heard
and
that.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No, I get a little like, I'm from Miami. Don't touch me.
You know what's crazy is Fright Dome didn't do anything this year.
Fright Dome is
Oh,
not doing
no.
anything. Have you been?
Because
What?
I was there the first year
Okay.
Yeah.
when it was really popping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But last year they didn't make like hardly anybody went.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah. And
Oh.
because I think I was talking to a friend and he said that that I think it opened up or it started. It was a little bit like 2 days after the shooting happened
Oh.
at the Root
And nobody
at
wanted
the
to.
concert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nobody showed up. And
Yeah.
then the guy who runs the Fright Dome extended it for a couple more days or a few more days.
Yeah.
And still nobody. So he wasted money.
Yeah.
I
on
think he
it.
lost a lot of money. 'cause
Yeah, he
that's
lost
probably
a lot
his
of money.
One, yeah,
So-
Jason Egan. But I'm sure that's a big that really sucks. You know, the
Yeah.
timing of all that was
Mhm.
not putting
Yeah.
anybody.
N-
That
no.
was a giant hit on Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It didn't put anybody at ease. I mean, I usually go to California in October to go to Universal Studios Horror Nights.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Same.
And
Yeah,
last year I
that's
was
our
just
Vegas
like,
tradition. Escape.
Escape, yeah. Well, I mean, I do it because my brother and I are both born in October, and we go the week between our birthdays.
Mhm.
So, but last year we were both like, we just didn't want to leave the city for a while. We just wanted to, kind of, because, we were all so united.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So now they're not doing the Fright Dome this year.
Yeah.
'Cause they lost money last year.
Yeah.
So-
I understand.
I hope he
Yeah.
sets up shop somewhere else and does it though, because I believe in him. I believe in that. I mean, because
he
really,
did
it's
the-
Freakling Brothers and Fright Dome is the big
big ones
Vegas-
out here. But
Mhm.
he set up the Saw escape room. That was all the guy who runs Fright Dome. Why can't I think of his name?
Jason.
Jason.
Jason, yes.
Yeah. I'm like, he's one of our clients. I should know
Yes,
this.
yes, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jason. Yeah, he did the the Jigsaw escape room. So that's why it's so like I've heard from people who have been there that you walk in and it smells like a meat packing like plant and stuff.
I can imagine.
He's creative that way.
I'm not into the Bree's more of our scary Halloween queen. I'm more like, let's dress up like Britney Spears and like rock it out. I would have to do pop culture. But there are some really fun things you can do. I know like there's what's it called? Haunted tours, haunted Vegas tours.
Oh,
yes.
Has anybody done that?
I have not done the haunted Vegas tours. I just do my own haunted Vegas tours. I don't
Okay.
pay for them.
Goes on her own.
Okay.
I do. I've done
goes
the
rogue.
haunted museum though.
The haunted museum?
Yeah, the guy from Ghost Adventures, Zach
Zach
Baggins.
Baggins.
He is also a Las Vegas local.
Yeah,
he lives in Rhodes Ranch.
Okay.
What up, Zach Baggins? My best friend has like a huge crush on him. Anyway, so yeah, I've been to his haunted museum, and that is creepy as hell.
Is that a fun date
I wanna go.
thing?
Yes, I went on a first date to that. Like we hadn't even met. It was like a
fun.
Tinder date. We hadn't met in person yet, and we met at the haunted museum.
Scott, you need
That's
to take
awesome.
Brittney and Justine to the haunted museum.
Yes, Scott.
I'm scared.
I was talking to Scott about it. I mentioned it to him, and he's like, "I'm kind of scared."
Just you do have to sign a waiver before you go in,
Yeah.
and you know I slept with holy water next to my bed for a while after I went through there.
That was your face splash.
Basically, I was like, instead of the Mario Badescu spray, I was like, let's do some holy water today for my makeup setting spray. I've gone twice on dates, and once with my one of my other best friends, Monique. Shout out Monique. I've had different experiences with different rooms. There's one room where you can leave like an offering. It's like this
The Dybbuk box?
the Dybbuk box.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There was a scary movie based off of that box called The Possession. It's like,
mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I left an offering. I've left an offering every time because I'm like, I don't want to
What
fuck
do you-
with anything.
Don't
What do
chance
you
it.
leave? What do you offer?
I always just carry cash when I go
Oh,
there.
okay.
I
I'm
get
like,
the money. It's the best you can do.
here's
right?
$5.
I gotta hit the ATM before we
Yeah.
go.
Come on, I got a bobby pin. There we go.
You can leave cash.
Use that for your
They
money
say
clip.
leave cash or leave something of value.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
it was holding all those flyaways. Would
Yeah.
that count? We, like, really respect. Okay,
Yeah.
so apparently, like front of the line through the scary house, it's gonna be Bree and Brittney, me and Justine in the back. I'm like, ow, touch me.
Well, you know what's crazy is when I was in the room with Bela Lugosi's Haunted Mirror. Now, I love Bela Lugosi. He and I share the same birthday. He is one of my favorite actors. He is Dracula. I love him.
Dracula? I don't know who that is.
He's old Dracula,
Oh,
black
so
and
Black
white.
and white
Black and
Dracula.
Black and white
Oh,
Dracula.
Okay.
Beautiful. He did a lot of horror movies. So he had this mirror that apparently he died in front of, and somebody else was murdered in front of, and this mirror is supposedly haunted.
Oh.
Because Bela Lugosi was known to be in like the occult, be really into the occult. So they have the mirror in the haunted museum, and I'm in there, and they're like, "You can look in the mirror." And I went to go look in the mirror because I was like, "Me and Bela Lugosi, we totally have a connection. It's okay." And then I felt something like pull on my hair, and I was like, "Oh God, I don't like this room."
Oh,
No. See, I'm not going.
Yeah.
We're gonna go.
I'm not
now.
going.
We're gonna go.
See, and because I believe in it, but I'm also a skeptic. I'm like, maybe there was an actor in there that just like was fucking with me.
I'm the same way.
Where
I
you
believe
believe,
in it,
but
I'm
you're so
kinda
skeptical.
yeah.
Like you bring the science into it. Like
Mhm.
no.
Yeah.
Well, once you start thinking, like I was kind of researching, this might happen to you guys when you're researching these scary, like true stories that you know are true. Like when you're like, okay, I want to talk about some haunted places around Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm like reading some. It's like after I've put everybody to bed, and I'm like, something's at the door. Like I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. They're like people. Like they talk about. I think I was reading something about. Okay, so Bally's. So
Oh yeah, Bally's is
Oh,
haunted.
uh-huh.
Bally's used to be MGM. I did not know that.
Oh yeah,
I should have known. I feel like I should have.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I'm ashamed. Holds head in shame. But yeah, I guess there was a fire on one of the top
Yep.
floors, and it burned. Like a lot of people died in it.
Yep.
So they say if you're walking around those top floors, people feel like coldness,
Ooh.
like walking on just one side, which is probably their intense AC. So I'm like stepping into, I'm like hot AC, or they'll feel like their hair blow and weird like moaning and
Yeah.
screaming. And this is in the top floors of the Bally's Hotel, which used to be MGM. So that was something.
Yeah.
So we want to get into some really fun haunted things that I'm sure everybody has something around Vegas that they've heard that's a really haunted and scary.
What's
and
your haunted
creepy.
story?
Who wants to go first?
Haunted Vegas
Who's got a
story.
good one? Like, because Vegas has a lot of little spots that are known for just having these folklores. And,
Like the Luxor.
yeah, the
What's
Luxor.
the Luxor
Okay, tell us the
story?
Luxor. What's up
The
with
Luxor. This isn't even in our show notes, and I'm just bringing it up. I'm
Tell
off
me more.
script. So the Luxor, for example, because a lot of people, because you know how it's built up in the inside, it's easy that you can jump, and a lot of people commit suicide in there.
Oh.
So that's where they
That's
say.
gonna be like a suicide. Too soon.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
No, okay. Sorry. I'm thinking like if you jump out the top of a triangle, you're gonna.
No, but it's inside. It's because you know how like shit.
My bad.
That was a good one.
Sorry.
That was good.
I like that good one.
You so punny, girl.
Okay.
So enough on that.
Oh.
We're moving on. We're gonna talk about the 666 house across from Wayne Newton's house.
okay, I couldn't get to that one, so you guys have to fill me in on that.
I
one.
drove
got too
past
scared.
it today.
It's gone now.
not
They
gone.
took it gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy who owns it, which okay, I fell down a rabbit hole.
Okay.
Oh no.
I won't say his name in our podcast, but I fell down the rabbit hole to see who owns it now. Like I went onto the commissioner's website and looked at everybody who's owned it in the last 10 years.
Oh my God.
I'm a little crazy.
Yes. So this is what happens on the porn searches, I imagine.
God, I've actually, you know what, with my guy, we've never watched porn together because I don't think he could handle me being like, no, we have to find the perfect one.
Yeah. No. Next.
Yeah, no, that's not right. Her shoes don't look that good. No. So I fell down that rabbit hole. But so with the 666 house, what it is it's across the street from Wayne Newton's house. Now it's just an empty lot. They took down the house, and it was just. I don't know if you guys. I'm sure you guys have driven by it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Like,
And I never realized that it was there.
yeah, it was burnt down forever and they were trying to like rebuild it up. It's in this beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah.
Beautiful neighborhood.
Oh, that's a whole like. There's
It
some
is
really sick houses. back
ritzy
there.
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
I tried to get in when the 666 house still had its foundation and stuff. I tried to get in there, and the neighbors are like, "You don't live here. What are you doing in this neighborhood?" And I was
they
like,
hate that house. Or
They
hated
probably
it.
do because
Yeah.
people go in there. So here's what happened: is the house burnt down, and they tried to build it back up, and then folklore says that some biker gang raped and sacrificed a woman there.
Ooh.
Yes, so she died there, and there's like, if you go in there, there's pentagrams. Like I've seen YouTube videos where people are doing tours of it. There's pentagrams spray painted everywhere. Now, here's my thought though: is probably the pentagrams were from like douchey kids like me going
Oh,
into
100%.
like,
Yeah.
be like, oh, let's go check out the 666 house. I'm gonna bring
Yeah.
my spray paint.
Yeah. It needs more 666 shit going on in here.
And the actual address of the house is 669,
Uh-huh.
but. Supposedly something happened. This is why it got the 666 house after the
The
hold on.
fire?
The fire. No, after the rape and sacrifice.
Oh, did somebody bump it and the 9 flipped
The
over?
9 flipped over, yes.
Shut up.
Yes,
Really?
yes. That's supposedly what happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really creepy. I've just been fascinated with that for years, and I'm like, I think we should make a scary movie about this.
I've never even heard
That'd
of
be a
what
great
have
story.
you guys heard about it before?
No,
Like,
not before
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
You
what
know-
what did you hear? Well,
Oh,
what?
I just want to say, who told me about that and who took me there the first
Who?
time? JP, who we used to work with.
Oh, shout out JP.
So I've known about
Okay.
that for like 11 years now. I've been
Wow.
like that
God.
interested in this house.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, we were. I came across a YouTube video, and this guy was saying how what do you say? A young girl went missing.
Yeah, that was
Like
a story
8 or
a
9
neighbor told him.
Yeah, a young girl went
Oh.
missing, and so there was a search party, and somehow the police ended up at the 666 house,
Oh.
and they went in there, pentagrams everywhere.
Yeah.
and then they found a jar. They didn't know what was in the jar, so they took it in, and then when they opened it, it was the little girl's heart.
Holy shit.
Oh, God.
See, so
Yeah.
there's all these folklore around this
Yeah.
house.
Uh-huh.
That's freaky.
It's so freaky, but it just cracks me up that it's across the street from Casa de Shenandoah. I think that is like
Yeah.
Yeah.
my favorite part about it. It's
Mhm.
like
Those gaudy gold
Wayne's
fences.
Newton's house and the devil's house.
That's so weird. We went to Wayne Newton's house a couple months ago for like an animal event.
Yeah.
It's like it's honestly like a 5-bedroom house. It's really
it's
small.
really
Really?
tiny.
on
property.
this monster ranch of peacocks and
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's
There's
so
like
weird.
peacocks just wandering around, jumping on top of the house, like meowing because they sound like they're cats when
They
they
do.
are
It's
like.
yeah, it was.
Oh man, maybe that's why the house burnt down. They were like, "Fuck, I can't listen to these peacocks anymore. I don't want to live here.
I'm done with this place.
Bye."
So
when
what?
you looked on the page, was there like a lot of different owners?
Yes, because the bank had it's gone into foreclosure a lot, and so the bank would buy it out and then do quick sells on it, and there was a lot of different owners. And the guy who owns it now has owned it 3 separate times.
Oh wow.
And he doesn't even live out here. He lives in Fontana, California. I know. I'm not gonna say your name.
His address, so we can go visit him.
Yes, yes, I do. Actually, you can find his address. I found his Facebook page too. I'm not gonna lie.
Dang, you went deep down into the rabbit.
I do. When I start studying something, I'm like, I gotta know everything.
Hey, it's MJ.
And Bree.
Guess what? We're doing a Keeping It Casual swag giveaway.
Woo! The last Wednesday of every month.
That's right. All you need to do is go to iTunes, subscribe, rate, and review.
If you don't have iTunes, follow us on Instagram at Keeping It Casual Podcast for our pop-up giveaways.
It's that easy.
Yes, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, what is the next standout spot that anybody has that they're like, ooh, this is kind of weird and
Do you have any
creepy
like
and
weird, creepy
crazy?
spots?
Anything?
I don't mess around. It makes me so nervous.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't do it. My family's like super religious. I'm not, but like always I was told like something creepy happens, don't talk to it, don't address like so I've always like if something weird happens, I'm like I have this really weird like I don't want to believe that it's true, but I also will not take the chance that it is true.
Right, you
And
have the
then-
little thought
Yeah.
like, but it could be, so I'm not going to challenge it.
So I'm just gonna I'd stay away.
Totally get that. I dated a guy, one of the guys the guy I went on the first date with at the Haunted Museum, he was super into like finding somebody to do like Ouija board shit with him.
No.
Oh hell
And
no.
he was
Nope.
like all about
Yeah.
it, and I looked at him and I said to him, I said, "You are not going to make me a stupid white person in a horror movie."
Yeah.
No.
no.
And he goes, "But you're not even religious." And I was like, "I don't give a fuck. I'm not taking any chances here."
I played with the Ouija board one time, and that was it. That was my first and last time. I'll never do it again.
Well, you know,
What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
Well, the planchette actually started moving by itself. It really did. And
I believe you. Holy shit.
My cousin's friend, she passed away from an overdose like a long time ago. So she came through. And so we're asking questions for validation,
Yeah.
and she actually answers it, and
Mhm.
Oh my god.
she verifies that it's her.
Wow.
And then we ask her to take the planchette off of the Ouija board onto the table, and it moves onto the table. Then we're like, hey, lift up the planchette just a little bit, right? It lifts up.
Oh my god, I'm getting goosebumps
And then-
listening to
I
this
know.
story. Oh my god.
And we're like, okay, goodbye. And like,
I'm like twirling my shirt like
and then after that, well, like before we said goodbye, some weird stuff started happening. And I was like, nope, goodbye. And that was it. And I'll never play with it again.
I don't
Wow.
blame you. Did you have any paranormal type of experiences after that? Like you opened a portal or anything? You opened yourself up to it? That's good.
No, thank
A-
God.
After I went to the Haunted Museum, I had this really crazy dream that I was in this like hellfire pit, and I
Oh.
could feel like my arms like it felt like I was levitating, or my arms were levitating, and I woke up and my arms were just kind of like floating in the air, and I
God.
was like, what am I doing to myself? That's when I started
That's
sleeping with holy water
creepy,
next to
yeah.
my bed.
I'm not going.
wow.
Oh,
my
man.
god. I have heard I've heard something about the mob museum because it was the old courthouse.
Yes, the mob museum is supposedly, from what I read from the mob museum, is it's supposedly haunted by
by the old mobsters.
The
'cause
old
it was
mobsters,
the
yeah.
courthouse, and they they send them all to prison, so they say they're
Mhm.
spirits, they're angry, and they roam
Yeah.
that place. But I don't know what else. did I
Bugsy
hear?
Siegel. Is it Bugsy Siegel? He was an old mobster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. So he is supposedly haunting the flamingo. Yes.
Oh.
I didn't hear that one.
Yes. I read that somewhere. I think on that Thrillist article you sent me.
Oh, I couldn't get through the whole thing. I started
It's
hearing
so
shit.
creepy.
It was like it's too dark. I was like, oh, because people, especially when people say I felt like like little things, like I felt like a cold Like they're like, oh, I saw screamings, or I saw or I heard a screaming, or I saw a demon. But it's like when you feel like the little coolness, or just like little knocks at the same time. Okay, here's something weird. The people that owned our house before us, the husband passed away. They only had the house for like 2 years, and even all the neighbors like, yeah, just he was here, and then one day he was gone. And every night at the same time at like 9:30, it's like on our door, on our front door. I swear to God.
So
And it's
weird.
always just like the most weirdest house settling thing, but it is clockwork, and it is 9:30 every night like this.
Like
so
on the dot.
weird.
on the dot, and it's
That's
weird.
creepy.
And I even told my husband, I was like, Chris, I said, I swear. And then I was like, see, it does it all the time, because he's usually in bed. 'Cause he wakes up really fucking early. But I'm just like, it always happens.
Yeah. I lived in an apartment about a year and a half ago, 2 years. I don't remember. And weird stuff was happening in the apartment. And
This
me
is true.
being who I am, I was like, it's fine. I can explain it. Nothing's going on. It's totally okay. But like weird stuff, like my TV got unplugged from the wall in the middle of the night.
That was weird.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
super weird
Yeah.
when she told me that.
And I kept having like really vivid dreams of like a little girl sitting at the end of my bed.
Oh.
And I couldn't like wake up. Like it was so bad. And I was like, and I was so uncomfortable in that apartment. Like I could never sleep.
Did
and
you do
I
a sage?
I
cleanse?
didn't, but we got drunk one night.
The
And,
greatest things happen with these ladies when they're
yes.
drinking. Watch out.
So she came over, and then our other friend Nicole came over, and we're like, we're gonna do a seance, and we're gonna talk to it. And
Yeah,
I'm
we
like,
were
oh, God.
doing. I think we were trying to do like an EVP thing, didn't we?
Yeah, because I recorded on my phone, but we were doing it for Patreon. So this is the only reason why I agreed to do it, because I was like, okay, our Patreon members will enjoy this. I'm in. So we're sitting there, and our friend Nicole's taking it very serious. Me and her had a lot of vodka, so we're laughing. Whatever. So we're asking questions, and then Brittney asks, did you used to live here? And my friend goes, what was that? And I'm like, the dog, it's fine. And after that, I was like, we're done. We're drinking. So later, when I was going back to edit the video, I pulled up the audio, and you can hear, we told it to knock, right? We're like,
Oh yeah.
knock once for yes, two for no.
That's what we were doing.
So she said, did you used to live here? And clear as day. Like a knock.
And then she had the table cover, right? And didn't it move?
It,
a little
kind
bit?
of rustled, and I
Yeah.
blamed the dog. I was like, the dog, and the dog was like not even.
Yeah,
in
it
there.
was like on the other side of the living room.
Needless to
I want to
say,
dim the
I
lights and light
moved.
some candles in
Oh,
here right now. Oh my God.
That's creepy.
I'm getting chills.
I'm getting chills too. I'm like, is our air kicking on, or am I just?
I used to go to. So for high school, I went to Las Vegas Academy.
Me
Yes, that was
too.
another
Really?
one. Both of you.
Yeah.
What
There's a
year did you
story.
graduate?
Oh wait.
Oh wait, I'm
Yeah.
05, so you were a freshman when I was a senior.
Julianne Huff,
Okay.
Julianne Huff was the same year
Yeah.
as you.
Oh, was she?
No,
I
she
think
she
she
was
was-
06 or 07.
Same.
She was
same-
only there for like a year, and
yeah.
then she left.
Yeah.
That's the only person I know. Okay, so yeah, that's another mysterious
Petrie!
haunted
Mr.
place.
Petrie. Yeah.
Okay, tell us the story.
But
Tell
I
us your
didn't-
perceptions.
So
'cause-
I wasn't in theater, but I heard all the stories.
Yeah. What was your major?
I did photography.
Good for you. I was a vocal major, so I did get to go into the
Into
theater
the
and stuff.
theater,
Yeah.
So did you experience anything in the theater at all?
I just remember being backstage. I can't remember if it was a dance performance or if it was one of the musicals. I can't remember what it was, but I remember being side stage in the old theater, because obviously it's the old theater that's haunted, not the new one that they built, and feeling like just getting weird feelings. But I didn't know about Mr. Petrie till after I graduated. And then my brother went to LVA. He was class of 11, so you guys were there at the same time as well. Such a small little city.
weird, yeah.
the biggest small
Wait, but
city.
who's Mr. Petrie?
Biggest small.
Mr.
Yeah.
Petrie is.
Yeah, but break it down already.
Oh, sorry. I'm like, okay, so Mr. Petrie is the ghost of Las Vegas Academy. He had a house where the theater was, right? Is the folklore?
I believe it was nearby. It's either, I've heard like he's lived nearby and or he's used to be a janitor.
Or he used to be a janitor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was either he lived nearby or he used to be a janitor, but he's just supposedly a nice little old man ghost who haunts the old Las Vegas Academy Theater.
I heard that he lived in a house and they wanted to build the auditorium where his house was, and he refused to sell and move. And then some kids burned down his house and he burned down
I've heard
in
that
it.
too.
I've heard that
So,
too.
That's the one I heard.
Okay, so funny story. When I was either a junior or senior, that theater caught on fire. The curtains just went up in flames randomly. No
Weird.
explanation. I will
Ooh.
never forget that because the choir room was very close to the auditorium at the time. So I was in choir and we're like, you know. And then all of a sudden you hear the fire alarms go off and I was like, oh, great, a fire drill, fuck. And so we walk out because I think we were getting ready for a festival performance. Like we were getting ready for something big. It was either festival or when we went on one of our trips to compete. We walk out and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the theater's on fire. Cool.
Oh my God.
And then
Excellent.
they tried to blame it on faulty wiring and stuff, but now that I look back, I'm like, that was Mr. Petrie.
That's funny. I was wondering if I knew she went. I was wondering if one of you guys actually happened to go there.
Yeah.
I know another weird place around Vegas, especially if you're coming here on Halloween, you want to do something cool. Bonnie Screams.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Bonnie Springs Ranch is a big
Ghost town.
It's a
Mhm.
big ghost town. Does anybody know the backstory of that though?
I've only been there once, but I don't know the backstory.
I read a little bit. I mean, my research is scattered, but basically, in everything, there's no. It's not like true crime. There's no hardcore evidence.
No, it's the work. It's
Fucking
very frustrating.
folklores.
Yeah.
That me too. I was like, oh well, this one and this one. So here's what I heard. The story is that the train. It was basically like it was the highway to California,
Mhm.
but you could only get by train. And what they would do is they would drop off all the dead bodies.
Oh.
They
hell
would
no.
save all. It was a drop off for all the dead bodies.
Oh,
And
Like
it used to
like
be
Monty Python's Bring Out Your Dead.
like I don't know. That's when they would transport, because they had to transport, obviously
Jesus.
to transport dead people, and that was where they go. And
Oh
then
my
it was like
God.
an ancient Indian burial ground as well.
Lake
That's a
Mead
double
is
whammy.
too.
Ugh.
Oh no.
Um,
no.
Yeah, but I guess you can take the haunted train ride, and they do the
Mhm.
haunted tour, the Bonnie Screams. I've
Yeah.
honestly never been there. I want to go out there.
I've been to Bonnie Screams and Bonnie Springs, but I didn't know the folklore behind it. But Bonnie Screams is actually really cool. And I mean, I went when I was older, so I feel like it's kind of kid friendly. You could bring it, you
Mhm.
could bring your kids to it, and they
Yeah.
could still do like some fun like
It's a family
kid
friendly.
Yeah,
haunted
it's-
house things.
I
Yeah.
went there when I was young.
Yeah.
Like a young teenager.
Yeah, to like feed the ducks or whatever you
Yeah.
do there
Mm-hmm.
during the day.
It's very.
The haunted hayride there?
Yeah.
The haunted hayride at Bonnie Screams?
Do they?
No, it's a haunted train ride.
They might have a hayride.
They might have a
too.
hayride too.
Yeah.
That also might be a California thing, and I'm a little bit confused.
I remember. Well, if you're thinking of the Los Angeles haunted hayride, I know what
that
you're
might be
talking
what
about.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they take you through the corn maze or whatever in LA.
I don't think I've ever done it.
Are you guys born and raised in Vegas? You guys from Vegas?
She is.
I am.
You're from
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been here
California
like
girl.
18 years from Florida, from Miami, and
I'm from California as
Yeah.
well.
California girl.
yeah.
What
Mhm.
part? What part of California you got?
All over. No.
They're
like
throwing
West-
up gang signs
West
right now,
Covina
guys.
Oh
area.
my God, we're neighbors. I'm Azusa.
I used to live in Azusa at a point.
Fucking A. 626, baby. High five.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So weird.
so funny.
We're loving
Yeah.
this. This is such a bonding. Is there
Yes.
any best friend?
So we are. We just met we just met like an hour ago, and now we're all best friends.
We want to drink with you guys because obviously big things happen when you guys
Yes.
start drinking. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you guys
Um,
start get drunk and start a podcast where MJ and I were like, oh my God, we were like, how we came together is we were both like gonna do our own podcast, and
Yeah.
then that wasn't working out, and then we came. She was like,
Uh-huh.
can I steal you? And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this.
She had a partner that was like, we can't get it together. We can't get the timing right. And I'm like ready to go. Like I had website, I had
Mhm.
I have everything. I was like, I know. I just mine was gonna be like a solo thing, and I interview people, but trying to depend on somebody else to do. Here's another podcasting 101 if you're going to start one. If you want to depend on random people to be your guests every time, that's not going to fucking work unless you have a booker that's booking guests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can't depend on people to coordinate with you. You need a good solid co-host. And you need somebody that's going to be a good team with you. Like you're like, all right, girl, you got this, I got this.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know, that's the only way it's going to work.
Oh,
Sure.
But
yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, another one I heard, Fox Ridge Park.
Yes.
Yes.
You guys heard what did you guys hear?
I've never heard of
It's
Fox
okay.
Ridge
it's
Farm.
in Henderson, and it is a little boy. Okay, so there's different stories.
Mhm.
So you tell your story first, and I'll see if it corroborates with mine.
So I heard that a little boy was killed by a drunk driver.
Mm.
So at midnight, the swing swings by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess if you approach the little boy, his
Uh-huh.
eyes turn red.
And he gets demonic.
Yeah,
He
it gets
turns into
demonic.
a demon.
Yeah,
So
that's what I've heard.
the story I've heard is
Yeah.
similar, but the story I've read the drunk driver story, but I've also heard that he was raped and murdered in the park.
Mm.
Ooh.
Yes.
I
And of
didn't
course,
hear that.
I try to like go in and like verify, like look at like around this time
story,
did any of these things happen? And it's like you can't really verify because it's all folklore anyway.
Mhm.
These
Yeah.
are all
Yes.
just fun, scary stories, but scary legends around Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them have seriously been
No.
too proven.
I don't think so.
No.
Like I say,
Yeah.
Prim Casino's haunted. You got the old Bonnie and Clyde,
Oh yeah.
the Bonnie and Clyde car that they got shot up in. Like,
Yeah.
that's out there. So they
Oh.
say that's
Yeah.
haunted by their spirits.
Yeah.
I see that.
But
What did the SLS, the new hotel?
Oh, the old
SLS?
Sahara.
right?
Yeah, I heard that's haunted.
Ooh.
Because somebody was killed on the roller coaster, the old roller coaster that used to be there, and I heard that's why it was haunted.
Oh,
that
I
official?
didn't-
I don't know if that's official, but that's
Good
what I heard.
God.
I heard that there was guards that worked there while the SLS was getting built, and they would just leave because they were hearing weird, strange noises
Ah.
and just weird things were going on. So
Yeah.
they would just up and leave. And then I also heard, and I'm not too sure because I try to look further into it, and I didn't get
I
anywhere.
know.
But but I also heard that their hotel room, like hardly anybody's booking hotel rooms there because in the reviews, people are saying how haunted it is
Ooh.
in there. So
Is that like our
I'm not too sure
our
how true that is.
what's the hotel in LA that's like super haunted?
Where all the bad shit happens.
Yeah, where the girl's body was found in the water tanks.
Oh, I don't know.
American Horror Story season 4
Yeah.
was based off of it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I want to call it Hotel Cortez, but that's not it.
It's
Hold on. This is why we have
it-
Google.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is me wasting your guys' time.
Yeah, that's where the there's video. That's the most creepiest video to me in the whole entire world.
What is
The-
it?
Was she was she visiting?
She
like a
was a
tourist.
tourist from Canada, and
This little Asian girl, and there's video of her in the hallway on the elevators, and
Oh,
she's
that
like talking to
one.
herself, and she's walking in and out of the elevator, and she's like,
she's like she looks like she's playing a game with
yeah,
somebody.
she's like
and she's
looking
doing, like-
around the doors, like to see if someone's. It's so weird.
She does
She's
this
on
like
acid.
weird
Looks
thing
like
with
acid.
her
Sounds like acid to
hands.
me.
Yeah.
It's called the Cecil Hotel.
That's it.
Okay, so maybe
okay.
the SLS is our Cecil.
Maybe. Yeah.
The Cecil, yeah, watch that video of, like, if you really want to be creeped out, watch the YouTube video of Elisa Lam's last known footage. Oh my God.
Yeah, that video
Yeah.
is really, really creepy.
Yeah.
It's
and then
super
they
creepy.
found her
Really
like
creepy.
2 days later or 3 days later.
Yeah, they found
up
her
on the
in the
roof in the water tank.
in the water tanks, completely naked.
Ooh.
And they're saying that, like, I think the official report was just suicide.
Yeah, like she just went in there and got stuck. But there was something weird about the tank where she wouldn't have been able.
she wouldn't
to
have been
get
able
in.
to get into the tank. So a lot of people say it's foul
A
play.
big water tank on the roof. Isn't that the plot line from
Dark Waters.
How to Get Away from Get Away with Murder?
No.
The beginning.
There was a movie called Dark Waters that it was based off of.
Really?
Sorry. Dark Waters came out before that murder, or before Elisa Lam was found dead. Sorry.
Murdered.
I mean,
That's the best part about having a podcast. You can
Yeah.
say whatever you want.
she was murdered.
Wow.
Yeah, but I know what you're
know.
talking about with the water tank.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was like,
and
was that,
the-
she was found in a water tank. That's the only
Yeah,
time I've
in
ever
the
heard
How to Get
anything
Away
like
with
that.
Yeah, it was crazy with the Cecil Hotel because all of a sudden the guests started complaining that the water tasted weird and it was coming out black.
Oh, no. That's disgusting.
And from the faucets. Yeah. And then so they were like, well, let's go check the water tanks. And then there was like
Ugh.
a young woman's body.
decomposing in the
Yeah.
water. Ugh.
And there was other weird stuff that
No,
happened there
no,
too. I don't
no.
remember what else.
Yes, not the original Night Stalker, not Golden State Killer, but the other Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez.
Uh-huh.
He stayed there for a while when he was doing his killings in Southern California. He based himself out of
Crazy.
Cecil Hotel. And then that guy from, I think he was German, he was a journalist, and he was murdering all the sex workers
Mhm.
around Los Angeles in like the late 80s, early 90s.
Mhm.
He
Seen there.
lived at the Cecil Hotel as well. And it, like, I've watched stuff on it, and it's like every odd year there's like a bad murder that happens at the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I know this isn't
Slack
about
on
Vegas,
security.
but whatever.
This is how our show goes. In
Yeah.
circles. It's a giant maze. Any other interesting ones? Red Fox's house.
Red Fox's
Oh, yeah,
house
I
is
heard about
supposedly
that one, too.
haunted.
Son, did you hear
Yeah.
about that one?
It's a big, beautiful mansion.
I don't even know what the story. The only story I found is that I guess the IRS took his house, and then
Mhm.
in '91 he died, and they say that his spirit haunts them.
Well, he loved that house. And Liberace Museum is supposedly haunted
Oh,
by
yeah.
Liberace.
That's the
I heard
other
that one
one.
too.
Is it like putting
yeah.
on a show there?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be cool to just
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, the museum's closed down now, but all his stuff is still in there. But wouldn't it be cool to just like walk in and just hear like beautiful piano?
Well, they say at night, like in the dressing rooms, the doors would shut on their own.
Yeah.
And these are things like I always get skeptical. I'm like, well, sometimes I've had a house where the AC would kick on, it would pull the door closed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they say in the dressing room they would see a figure and the doors would shut automatically. Or like when they were renovating things, they said that the workers were freaking out because they felt like a figure kept knocking over things and doing something. They said it was him there observing, make sure they didn't steal anything.
Yeah.
Like it was all very sassy.
Very,
sassy
very
ghost.
sassy Liberace.
It's a very Liberace ghost. Man.
I feel like that ghost would be covered in glitter and
Yeah.
fabulousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glowing.
Slamming the piano thing.
Lurking behind attractive men. Like,
Is there any other haunted things?
I don't know.
Interesting things around Vegas that you guys.
I can't think of any more.
I can't either. Maybe not haunted, but like fun stuff you could do. Well, Oddfellows downtown is one of my favorite bars, and if you're into like spooky shit, that's the place where you need to go because the tables have Ouija boards
And
Oh.
as their center. Yeah, it's
What?
off of Ogden.
Oh, that must be new.
It's not new. It's been there for a few years, but you know those high rises.
A few years since I've had kids is new.
True. You know those. You know
It's
those
new to
high
me.
rises on Ogden.
Yes.
It's like where those high rises
Oh,
are.
okay.
Yeah. So
Excellent.
it's a really cool bar. It's it has Ouija boards as the centerpieces. They'll play like scary movies.
Mhm.
They have this big mural of Satan as
Oh
you
my
walk
God.
in, and then
I would
there's
love that.
and then there is a
Cool.
secret bookcase that leads you to the dance floor.
What?
What are we doing later?
Turn it up over there.
Turn it up.
Nice.
So Friday nights they do like 80s night, and Saturdays they do like 2000s indie electro. Oh, I love it. That's where I
How
like
fun. What's it called?
Oddfellows.
Oddfellows.
Fellows.
Yes.
Can we have like a podcast date?
Yes.
Sounds
Let's,
like so much fun.
it is. It's really fun. And then obviously around
Okay.
Halloween time, Fetish and Fantasy Ball is always a fun thing to do.
Oh yeah.
Oh, have you guys
Fetish
ever
and
been?
fantasy
No.
ball.
Never
Oh.
been?
No, I don't
Ooh.
think I've ever heard of that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's-
Might get the hook up, might have to switch it up.
let's
It's like
see.
it's like all kind of a dominate. You know, you could dress up. You dress up
Mhm.
scary versus sexy versus
Versus
scary, like
Uh-huh.
crazy. Like
you
horse masks
have
all
to be in
day.
costume to
Yeah.
go to get into the party, though.
And it's
Ah.
aerial
wanna-
performances and pole dancing and Marilyn Manson and Lady Gaga looking people. Just
And they have like a
wanna go to
BDSM room, like their red room of pleasure, where you can
Uh-huh.
go and like the dominatrix will like flog you and stuff. Yeah,
I really want to go.
Yeah.
it's fun because
It's usually at the joint, the Hard
it's
Rock.
usually at the joint. But I think last year they had moved it to Red Rock for some reason.
Yeah,
the Red
they
Rock.
move it around. I've been to a couple, and I was like, "What are we doing at the South Point? This is not the same."
Yeah.
When
what
it
Yeah,
last
Red
time I
Rock.
went, it was at the joint, and the joint has all those conference halls too. So they had the main room, which was like the dance club area where they had like the aerial performers and the pole dancers and like all the shows and the dance floor, and then they had like a I want to say EDC, but EDM room, which
That's
was
a haunted place.
Right.
Scary.
And then they
My
had
worst nightmare.
They had the red room, and the red room was where all the vendors were. Because I used to sell sex toys, so I would always get a booth there and make some money.
Uh-huh. No,
Yes.
it's a very sexy, fun Halloween thing.
It is.
I think
Fun.
if you're in Vegas on Halloween, you just got to get dressed up and you got to like hit the strip and just kind of.
Fuck yeah.
It's the greatest time to people watch and just be out with all the weirdos
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
costumes. and-
Yeah.
We
and
never do it. We're so boring.
No.
I try
Yeah.
to avoid the strip at all costs.
Yeah.
For sure.
So-
Yeah, you live here. You grew up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You
So I'm
probably don't like
"Uh,"
Fremont.
I'm like the strip.
We do Fremont,
but we
more
do
often
Fremont.
than-
Yeah.
I'll do
Alright.
Fremont. but
Fremont's
I
where the
won't.
locals go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do love Fremont. I was there last night.
Yes.
I
Oh.
was out until 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And you made
So
it here
that's
to
why-
be with us.
That's
Thank
why I
you.
needed a coffee. but-
Nice. Where'd you
Yeah.
go last night? Where was your Fremont spots?
we were bar hopping, so we started at the Atomic.
Atomic Liquor.
Yeah, we started
Okay.
at Atomic Liquor, and then we made our way. There's another bar. It's all the way. I forget what it's called.
Bunkhouse.
It's the one with the taxidermy animals.
Eh?
That's not the bunkhouse.
Sounds
What
I
is
creepy.
that
forget
one?
what it's called. It's right by the pie.
Oh, by Pizza Rock or Evil Pie?
It's by Evil Pie.
By Evil Pie. Are you talking about Park on Fremont?
I think it's called Park on Fremont.
I
There's like
love-
taxidermy animals.
And they have
and
all
they
like
have weird pictures
the
on the
artwork.
wall.
And if you go in the
Yeah.
bathroom, it says employees must say Bloody Mary 3 times before returning to work in
I
the
think
mirror.
so. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
that's Park on Fremont.
I think so, yeah. And then we went to the Griffin.
Yep, got it. And then
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
pop
Beauty
into the
bar.
beauty bar. You're just like, you got to, yes.
We were just going to different bars, just bar hopping.
yeah. If you
So-
want to do Vegas right, you go to Fremont. You don't have to
Yes.
put on a collared shirt and fancy shoes and pay
No.
$60 and stand in line
Nope.
and grease
Yeah.
bouncers. You got to pay $5 most head.
Yeah,
to
I
get
think
in.
Mm.
Oh, I think they charge at Commonwealth now. I haven't been to Commonwealth in a while, but I think they charge for men at Commonwealth. The only time I've ever paid to get into a bar on Fremont was when I read sometimes will charge you $5 a cover fee of $5, and that's where they play really dope hip hop music. And if I want to shake my booty, that's where I'm going.
I'm still like $5. I'm like, hold on, we got to like conversate. I'm like, I want to go here. Like, ugh, we get, you're just like, I don't want to fucking pay for shit.
Seriously, I'm the
So
same
spoiled in
way.
Vegas.
Shouldn't have to.
I get mad when I have to wait in line to get in anywhere.
Oh, that's
here.
where I would
Oh,
rather
yes.
pay than wait in line. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not waiting in line.
There
I
was-
won't wait.
We're
I'll be
trying
like,
to
nope,
figure.
we're going somewhere else.
We were trying to figure out where do we want to go to next? So we're looking line. 'Cause I guess there's like a bar with like a rooftop thing, or not.
Oh, Inspire.
I think so. It's
Yeah.
like it's outside
Yeah,
on the
it's
second
Inspire.
level.
Yeah, that's Inspire.
And
Yeah,
there was a
yeah.
line, and I was like, nope, I'm not waiting in that.
Yeah.
Let's go somewhere else. So.
We have our Life is Beautiful like
Sound
sound
house.
there. And
Yeah.
all the artists stop by. It's pretty cool.
Nice. I'll probably go there next time.
Yes.
I just
Make
did,
sure
I
to
wasn't
invite you
I
down.
didn't have the patience. to
Yeah.
wait
Yeah.
there.
Last night I went to bed at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I went to bed at 10:30, I think. So, and
I-
MJ
I
had
had
a slumber party.
I did. I had a bunch of girls at my place, and you know what? We made everybody instead of Rice Krispie treats, Fruity Pebbles treats.
Ooh.
They're
Ooh.
bomb. Mom brought some for you, ladies. So
Oh.
yeah. She's on the right.
Nice.
So, do you guys like to bring this all around? Do you guys have any favorite episodes that or like really dope ass stories that? Not dope. I guess you guys are in the true crime world, so they're probably not that dope.
What will make you cry? No.
What were some of your favorite stories to talk about, or like victims that you were like, we need to bring their story to light?
I think one of our biggest ones, first and foremost, was Evelyn Hernandez, who
Yes.
was Lacey Peterson exactly 1 year before Lacey Peterson got murdered.
Oh
Wow.
shit!
Pregnant?
So it was definitely
Uh-huh.
not as publicized, as Scott and Lacey.
And
Wow.
The only reason why I think anyone ever heard about her story was because Scott Peterson's lawyer, I can't think of his name right now,
I can't think of his name.
whatever his name was,
Who cares?
referenced her in their pretrial stuff. Where he
Mm.
said there could be a serial killer. This already happened to somebody else a year ago, same area.
Oh.
And that automatically got shut down, but there was no media coverage on her. Even when we were
Mm-mm.
researching, it was like the same article over and
Over.
over again, the same 3
Yep.
facts. There's nothing out there. And the worst part about her was that she was pregnant,
Mhm.
Mhm.
almost due, I think, and
Mhm.
went missing with her 5-year-old son, who has also
It
never
was
been
so
found.
sad.
Yeah.
Do
So
they
sad.
do they think was there a husband that they think did it?
She was
or?
having an affair with a married man.
Ooh.
And they actually, it's been so long. I want to say
Mhm.
they found, there was some sort of paperwork found in his neighborhood that belonged to her or something that belonged to him in her neighborhood. I can't remember the specifics, but
Yeah.
very clearly he did it. And he has a diehard wife that's like, nope, was with me, didn't.
So she gave him a
Oh,
motive.
the guy that she had an affair with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
And then what
He was with me.
happened? Didn't they like split up? The wife and the husband, didn't they split up? And then she told on him.
No, because he's still never been around. They're still married.
Really?
Mm-hmm. We were
Well, maybe
saying
that was
that's,
a- maybe that was
going to be
another-
what's going to crack it, is if she ever leaves
Oh.
him and goes, I lied.
Wow.
Yeah.
He wasn't with me.
I can imagine like doing all this true crime you find, and it's very shocking that majority of all these crimes is with somebody that you once dated and loved and
Mhm.
had a life with, and they kill their children because they can't
Oh, man,
deal with
yeah.
having you out there without your. I mean, it's just unreal. And most of this shit is like relationship, It's
Uh-huh.
very
Mhm.
random, some senseless
Yeah.
act of psychopaths.
Yeah.
There is that, but it's mostly like
Yeah. Wow. So after you've fallen down like the true crime rabbit hole, what do you do to like get back into better spirits?
Get out of it.
Yeah.
vodka.
Yeah.
Yes.
vodka
Vodka,
tonics.
tequila, everything.
Whatever's in the freezer at the time.
Yes.
No. I think the fact that we do it together
Mhm.
and I love this girl so much. I want to wring her neck a lot, but I love her, and I
real love.
love Scott as much as I hate him. We have fun doing what we do. So as sad as it is, digging into someone's, it's sad. You're talking about someone's whole life until the time that they're gone and they're not there anymore. It is depressing, but being able to do it with my two best friends, I know that it makes it easier because we can sit there and we can laugh. We're not like a serious, by any means serious.
Yeah,
no, I love
about it.
Yeah, because I didn't feel like when I listened to you guys, I love it. As I was saying when we were texting, I was like, oh my God, I'm listening to your episode right now, and I can't believe this. And you guys were talking about real estate, and I was like, I agree, the market's gonna crash soon.
Yeah, but it's just it's a conversation about, and you guys are bringing these people's lives to attention, because I mean it's so sad if you had a friend that passed away and you were like nobody talks about them anymore. Just to bring them up and acknowledge them, that's huge. So you guys are doing a huge service there.
Yeah,
that's there's so much value in that. Absolutely.
Definitely. I had a friend who was killed by her husband earlier this year, and it got a little bit of news coverage, but I don't know anything that's happened since. I went to her funeral, and it just feels so out of sight, out of mind now. Yeah, I it was crazy because I saw the news footage and I was like, that looks like Crystal's husband. So I text, and then I saw that people were posting on Facebook like, rest in peace, Crystal, and I was like, what the fuck? And then my best friend works for Metro Police Department. So I texted my best friend and I was like, what do you know about this? And she came home. We were living together at the time. And I'm crying. And she was like, what happened? And I was like, read your text message. And it was crazy. And I honestly, she was a Filipino woman married to a black man. So I wonder if that might be something as to why there's not been a lot of news coverage on it. Because I want to know when this motherfucker goes to court, what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's and it's the same thing for a lot of the cases that we struggle a lot sometimes because there's just no information. There's there's one article, we've been talking about transgender murders.
Yes, I've heard that too.
And I don't even remember what we're at so far this year.
20.
No. I think 15 or 16.
Yeah, 15.
Transgender people of color that have been murdered this year thus far.
Wow.
And
Oh my God.
is the coverage?
Yeah.
Oh, out here in Vegas?
No, just in the United States.
Oh,
but that's still 18 lives that are tied together, because they are transgender, but it's not on the news. You don't hear about it.
Did you hear about the shooting at the transgender bar out here?
Yes.
Yeah, there was one article about it.
Yep.
That's it. That's all that there was. There was one article about it, and it was one of the bartenders at the bar who started tweeting about it and started making people recognize that what was going on.
I don't remember exactly. I know they had a fundraiser.
Yeah,
they ended up having a fundraiser and stuff. Nobody was hurt. It was just
I don't think anyone got shot.
I don't think anybody got shot. There was just like a hate crime shooting at this bar. And it got no media coverage because it was a transgender bar. And that's why we just want to thank you guys for doing such a good job on shining light on all these stories you don't hear about.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys support It's About Damn Crime. Check out their website, it'saboutdamncrime.com. They've got some sweet, sweet swag. I do love their T-shirts and stuff. Yes. And really appreciate them having us on their show a few weeks ago for their Stranger Danger. Which episode was that, Bree?
Episode 40. It was fun recording. Yeah. It was fun doing that recording session with them.
It was cool, man. They definitely, we like to bullshit and keep it light, but these girls go deep. If you look at their website, it can be really heartbreaking seeing all these stories, but they're out there, giving voices to these people that didn't have them.
One of the things I said, I texted Justine and Brittney after we recorded the Stranger Danger episode with them. It's like, it's one thing to listen to a true crime podcast. It's another thing to see them actually like reading these stories to you. Like I was getting goosebumps and you were grabbing your boobies.
Yeah. Yeah. My nipples hard. It does, just like this episode did. I said, hold on to your nipples in the show notes.
All right.
But really appreciate the girls. Definitely check out their website. And I would recommend their Halloween episode from last year.
I'm going to download it right now.
Yeah, I linked to it in the show notes. So that's a fun, spooky episode.
And they want you to listen to episode 17. And that is their Evelyn and Alex Hernandez episode. It is Lacey Peterson before Lacey Peterson happened.
Yeah. Again, Brittney, Justine, thank you so much, girls, for taking the time to join us. Another Las Vegas podcast. Woo! And our podcast us, besties.
Thank you.
We'll have them back. I think we need a Halloween tradition with It's About
I
Damn
think
Crime.
we do. All right. Bye.
Girl, that was fun.
Another fun conversation with you.
Yes, if you have any feedback, email us feedback@keepingitcasualpodcast.com.
My Twitter is Breemixed, BREEMIXED.
And I'm at MJ Radio Diva, any social platform.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Keeping It Casual Podcast. You get to see live videos, silly little photos of us.
All the dumb photos that we talk about. Anything
Yes.
photo-wise we talk about in the episode, it'll be there.
We look forward to hearing from you.
We'll be back with more gossip about nothing and
Everything. Bye.